Hi everyone, in this video I will show how to set up the traffic light visual for Power BI. Let me guide you through. First of all, we need to add our selected data measure. For instance, if we want to use the traffic light visual for an overall project status, we may have status text from on track over at risk to finally highly critical. However, for our visual, we need numeric values. Thus, we assign numbers to each status, for instance, 1 for on track, 2 for slightly at risk, 3 for at risk, 4 for critical, and 5 for highly critical. We now select our measure from our data. For instance, here, the status overall for the overall project status. In the second step, we must define ranges for our color codes. We again click on Format Your Visual on the right and go to the Ranges section. Here we can now define values for each of our colors. For instance, we will have a green color on the bottom and a red color on the top. As I've already explained, we assigned numbers for our status values from 1 to 5, and we would now assign the values to each color. For instance, a green color from values 1 to 2, standing for on track and slightly at risk. For yellow from 3 to 4 with at risk or critical. And finally red for only 5, which means that the overall project status would be highly critical. Unfortunately, we see that the traffic light still displays no color as we currently are in the project portfolio view. Thus, we need to filter for a specific project of our portfolio by applying a filter for project ID. We have two options now. Either we click on the filter pane here and add a filter with project ID. And now we can simply filter for our different projects. For instance, project number 2, and we see now that the traffic light visual works. However, I prefer to add a slicer to our visual dashboard, and to do so we simply select the slicer tool from our visualization list. And now we would apply project ID as the value field. As you can now see, we will have a slicer here, and here we can simply select our project of interest. I feel like this is a more convenient way. With our latest update, we added the possibility to change the values of our ranges from decimal values to percentages. And here we again click on Format Your Visual on the right and select Value Format. Here we can see that we can switch our value format from decimal numbers, as we have now had integer numbers, which can also be, of course, decimal numbers. But we also have the possibility to switch it to percentages, and we could then now in a second step define here ranges for different percentages of a project status. For instance, we could say that a green light should be displayed for percentages from 0 to 30% and so on and so forth. Further, we can also use time values by clicking on the time format here. And this is especially helpful if you want to use a traffic light, for instance, for a project time status. And here we could use different time formats, for instance, a date or also a duration here. And in a second step, select ranges for different dates of deadlines or also durations of the project. So you could say the time status of the project will be green if the project is for 7 days or lower of duration, and so on and so forth. So today we have learned how we can set up the traffic light visual for Power BI and tailor it to our individual data sets. And in the next video I will explain how we can customize the visual to our individual preferences in terms of design. Have a nice day.